Hello, everyone. This certainly isn't a gathering I ever hoped to give a speech for. I have written this and read it so many times. How do you decide what the last thing you'll ever say should be? I've read it out loud so often just to try and avoid being a dripping, goobering, blubbering mess. But, the time comes when you just have to hit record. And I only want to do that once. So I'll do my best. All right, here it goes. If you're watching this, then my battle with cancer is over. I won't lie and say that it's not somewhat of a relief, but it's also a battle I would have gladly fought until I was old and gray. But such is life and death. We don't get to choose our time. The fact is, I won't get to see Zach grow up. Or my dad, for that matter. Sorry, Dad, just trying to lighten the mood. Erica, at our wedding, we danced to Adam Sandler's I Want to Grow Old with You. I really did. And I'm sorry that I couldn't make that happen. I'll have no more gaming trips to Origins or camping trips in Allegheny. Light a candle at the campfire for me. Safely, of course. Only you can prevent forest fires. No more staying up late for the latest midnight game release or gaming session. Cancer took our future together. I know you'll grieve. I know you'll cry. I have. And it's okay. I know you'll wish I was there, and I wish I was too. You know, that's the worst part for me, honestly. It's not the dying. I suppose that part's easy. You just close your eyes and stop fighting. No, living is the hard part. Leaving you all behind and knowing the experiences I won't be a part of. Whether it's, Zach's high school graduation or something even more serious like the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Here's the thing, though. For whatever cancer stole from me, from us, it also gave something that many people don't get. A true realization of time and the knowledge that my time was shorter. It means that I didn't leave things unsaid my hope. I didn't lose my chance to have some of the growing up conversations with my son. Knowing what I knew meant that I could prepare not only for myself, but for my family, for you. I mean, how many people get to say that their last words were said after they died? It's pretty epic, right? I was able to make videos that Zach will have for a lifetime. I was able to create how-tos about things in our house, like all my crazy tech, or the furnace, or whatever. I tried to make sure Erica has all she needs to carry on without having to dig for and hope that I wrote something down. I got to write and record a very special song with the acapellas, my coworkers. Not many get to say that. I had some total strangers from the UK and Peru come together to create a very special portrait for my family, which is right behind me. A centerpiece in our living room. I got to take Erica and Zach to their first Bills game, and we won. We went to Disney, something we hadn't been planning on yet. The truth is, knowing my time was shorter pushed me to take the time I had to make memories. It shouldn't take imminent death for some of these things, and I hope by sharing that each of you may take just a moment to think about your lives and what you have and who you love. The knowledge of what was coming changed my marriage in ways I could not have imagined. We ended arguments sooner. We had open discussions about life and death. We hugged for no reason. We cried together. We worked more like a team than we ever had. Erica, she threw me an amazing 40th birthday. Held my hand when I was shaking. Got me help when I needed it. I could not have fought as long as I did without her. Erica deserves so much credit. And then there was COVID-19. The damned coronavirus and all of its hellspawn. That little booger really threw a wrench into all of our lives. And yet, just like with cancer, when life gives you lemons, I got to spend months with my son, not only as his dad, but as his teacher and his friend. We were able to create a ton of memories and moments together. We played Beyblades, we built Lego, played more board games than I can count. We played Mario, Luigi's Mansion, Minecraft, and so many more. We built forts, we camped outside. I taught him to do laundry. Gotta know how to do laundry. And we got to watch him put the pieces together as he learned how to ride his bike. Erica and I were so proud of him for not giving up. And the smile he had when it all came together, a moment I will never forget. COVID-19 gave me time to see just how smart Zach is. How strong and good-intentioned, and how deeply he feels. Zach, I love you so much. Through all of it, so many of you did so much. From simple things like rides to Roswell or going for a walk with me, to things like watching Zach or bringing us a meal, helping us out with home projects or sending us gifts, baking us a pie or making freezer meals for weeks, your phone calls and texts just to check in. I am so grateful to each and every one of you for all you did and all that you will do. And speaking of, what is now years ago, amazingly, I asked my incredible nieces, Amelia, Caitlin, and Lily, to help me make a couple hundred necklaces. They didn't know why at the time, I don't think, and I was glad that they didn't ask. You see, those necklaces were for today. I'm wearing one myself right now, and have been ever since they made them. This may come as a shock to many of you, but it's time I came clean about something. I am, and always have been, a gamer. Board games, dice games, card games, short games, long games, silly games about hippos, and serious games about pandemics. Of course, there was always real sports too, like football, can jam, volleyball, and can shoes? Yeah, we'll call that a sport. You know, most of all, video games. Some people knock on video games, but for me, they made a difference. Forgive my stroll down memory lane here, but my first game system was an Atari. Quite the treat as a young kid. Playing Miner 49er, Joust, or Robotron. But the one that hooked me and blew open my imagination came on one of the many, many amazing Christmas days at 485 University Avenue. The NES. That's Nintendo Entertainment System for those out of the loop. Cracking that open on Christmas morning was a joy of my life. I was so excited. beating Mario for the first time, finding my way through the graveyard in Zelda, playing Tecmo Bowl endlessly with my friend Joe, or going with him and his dad to the flea market to buy new games. Video games got me to work when I was 11 years old. I was cutting lawns, shoveling snow, running my paper route, and when the Super NES came out, I bought it with my own hard-earned money. I spent hours playing SimCity and Mario World and Link to the Past. Then there was the Nintendo 64, having multiplayer blowouts in my parents' basement with games like Star Fox and Mario Kart and GoldenEye with my friends and my cousins. And then, of course, my Uncle Bob introduced me to PC gaming with Doom. Well, there is a reason I ended up working in IT. I could literally talk for hours and hours about games, how they changed me, how they brought us together. But let's get back to those necklaces. You know, the first real big game that I ever beat was a game called Final Fantasy on my NES. Look at that. I'm even wearing the shirt. It was a game with a real story that I had to figure out. It didn't hold my hand. It was tough. It challenged me in ways I didn't know games could until then. And interestingly, it was called Final Fantasy because the developer thought it might be their last game at the time. Little did they know it would go on to be the beginning of one of the greatest game series of all time, still going strong today. So many memorable characters and heartfelt stories and imaginative locations. And the music. Oh, the music. I can't tell you how many times I'd hum a tune from Nobuo Uematsu to help Zach fall asleep. And so about those necklaces. One of the staples of the Final Fantasy series are the blue crystals. So on each one of these necklaces hangs a blue quartz crystal. You see, in the games, the crystals symbolize many things. Power, nature, love, life, how beautiful it is, how powerful it is, and how fragile it is. When you look into a crystal, depending on the angle, you can see both light and dark. And our lives are filled with the light of our laughter and our stories, our loves. But they're also shaped by the darkness of sadness, anger, and loss. My greatest hope for all of you is that you don't let the darkness of my passing block out the light. That is the last thing I want for any of you. I lived a great life, filled with joy and adventure and love. I wouldn't give up any of it, even if it meant a different outcome. So please, each of you, take a crystal, Wear them, share them. Put them in your wallets, hang them in your cars or from a bedroom mirror, whatever you choose. Let the crystals remind you that I will always be there with you. In your memories and in your hearts, I will be rooting from you or for you from the sidelines, cheering on your victories and helping you hold your head high if you lose. Hopefully, I go out as I lived. I only ever tried to bring light into a room, to be the best friend, coworker, son, brother, husband, and father. I love you all so much. Each one of you, from my coworkers and gaming buddies to my dearest friends and family. And of course, my wife and son. You all made life worth fighting for. In my darkest times, you were the light. So be there for each other, like you were for me. Have those tough conversations. Don't keep secrets. Prepare for the worst, but don't dwell on it. Take life a day at a time and live it to its fullest. Play new games, see new places, try new foods, hug those you love, and don't let go. Find reasons to forgive sooner. Have grand new adventures. And lastly, most importantly, the big one, my final request. Live long and prosper. Goodbye.